Face, we're on.
Get it.
Negative K, nothing further, just Kitty Cabby on the corner. That's a direct order. Do it now.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, January 29th, 2026. We are Roll Call Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations. We have D with us. We have AC. We have Will. We have Jerry. We have Mark. And we have Rich. And part of the other team is doing what they do. Before we get started, we want to have a moment of silence. I'll read the disclaimer, and I'm going to ask Rich to do the statement of purpose. I like that last photo, D. Thank you so much for that. Our disclaimer, roll call, Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations. Please note that the comments and express concerns made by members of Roll Call, Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations, herein called Roll Call, panel are the opinions of the individual and not offered or intended to be legal advice, recommendations, or suggestions for listeners and or observers. The panel may display graphic videos and photographs that may be integral to or to spark discussion. These videos or photographs are not intended to offend any viewer or listener. A panel member will give notice to the audience as to the nature prior to displaying any graphic or sensitive video or photograph. Any graphic content displayed during the panel discussion has been obtained from and shared from public social media platforms and is not the property of Roll Call. The language used by members of Roll Call and guests is spontaneous, it is uncensored, and is not intended to offend the audience. Thank you for joining us each and every Thursday. Rich?
Thank you, Rev. Once again, we're Roll Call Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations. We're a pro-law enforcement group. We're for equitable policing. We're against racism, and Black and Brown Lives Matter. We formed this group as a focus to try to bridge the gap between law enforcement and your communities. We're glad you're here with us today. Thank you.
And I'm glad Rich said what he said, that we tried, this group came together to bridge the gap, and it seems like we have a whole ocean in between police and community now. The relationships are not where we would like for them to be, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to stop. That we're not going to stop trying to build that bridge. All right. Let me first start off by saying we're praying for Derek and Deirdre, Cheech and Anna, JT and Orlando. We're praying for my mother and my mother-in-law, and we want to recognize a national holiday, which is tomorrow. CJ be celebrating her birthday on tomorrow. All right, so just keep that in mind. And we'll be celebrating CJ on tomorrow. If she's listening, happy birthday to you, CJ. Enjoy your day. Let's get started with anyone have anything to say before we get started? Fewer numbers today, so that's fine. But all right, if no one has anything to say, we want to get started with North Carolina Sheriff in Columbus County, North Carolina. A situation with him. So we'll let D get us started with that.
All right. Well, you want to set that up, or you just want me to play?
Play it.
Well, Will can set it up if he
okay.
wants to.
Well, this was something that I brought to the attention of the group. Here in North Carolina, we have a sheriff who made some very insensitive and hurtful racially charged comments back during a previous election, and they came to surface prior to this last election cycle. He resigned his position, but his name stayed on the ballot. And in the county in which he represents, which is Columbus County here in North Carolina, he stayed on the ballot and won re-election, only to have the district attorney in that county bring up a complaint to have him permanently removed and barred from being in that office because of continued racist remarks.
Let's take a look.
We're a win for sanity and reason in a number of races, not everywhere. America is still going to America. Here's a great example of that. A North Carolina sheriff who resigned from his post after his racist comments were revealed is getting back into office because he won his re-election bid. Take a look right here. This is Republican Jody Green defeated Jason Souls, the Democratic candidate. This is Columbus County's sheriff's race. So he stepped down from his office back in October after a leaked audio recording from 2019 came out. Well, he did win 54% of the vote, so it wasn't an overwhelming victory, but a solid victory. In that 2019 phone call, Green referred to multiple black employees as bastards and indicated that he planned to fire them for supposedly undermining him, according to a petition filed by the local DA's office last month. He was quoted as saying, "Every black that I know, you need to fire him to start with. He is a snake," which is disgusting to even have to read in graphic form, let alone to know that someone in charge of law enforcement there believes this. Well, he resigned. He did sort of the, I guess, obligated good thing to do, step down from your position, and now he's been returned to it. And look, there's still gonna be pressure to take him out of that position for these comments, but is it impossible to believe that he'll feel like he has a mandate? People knew that he was an open racist, that he planned to govern as a racist, striking out against black employees of his, and they rewarded him with another term. Adrian, what do you think?
I think that a lot of people in the United States really, they don't fully appreciate how racist a lot of people are and how much people are okay with elevating racists. And they prefer that they be elevated in their position because they want to maintain the semblance of a status quo where essentially black, brown people remain in a position where they have less access to opportunity and power within our society. And the thing is there are so many people out there who want to think we're in a post-racial America simply because Obama was elevated to president. And this is a perfect example of the fact of, oh no, not at all. Like, we have not really moved much in terms of having actual change. And so this is just a perfect example. I am not shocked, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just takes the position and does nothing.
Yeah, just sit in it, you know? I mean, like, and the disgusting thing is, I'm sure there are plenty of people that enthusiastically voted for him because of what they heard. They heard that recording, they thought, he's my type of guy. I want him in charge. And he's hardly alone. He was actually caught on tape, but most will not be caught on tape. That doesn't mean they're not saying it. Anyway, by the way, his resignation was not just over the comments. He apparently also had a sexual relationship with one of his deputies, which lasted for months, and according to the district attorney, quote, interfered with the necessary and proper administration of the sheriff's office. Of course, the people who don't mind the all black people are bastards thing are probably not gonna mind him sleeping with one of his subordinates. At the time, he had posted this message saying, due to my love for Columbus County and to spare my fellow citizens, along with my family and friends, the ordeal and spectacle of a long trial, I resigned as sheriff of Columbus County for the term elected November 2018, effective this morning. The allegations are not true. They were politically motivated. Well, I mean, part of it's on tape, so okay. I'm still running for sheriff of Columbus County in the November election. I am running to make Columbus County better and safer for all of our citizens, all of them. The white ones and the bastards. I'm gonna represent all of them. And people heard that message and they liked it.
What's going on, Jim?
Mhm.
And to all of our listeners and watchers, welcome. I'm gonna jump right into this because I'm in North Carolina. This happened in North Carolina. Forgive me, this dates back a little further than I thought. I thought this was for the past or the previous election cycle, but it's still relevant. The original election in 2018, the opposing candidate was a Democrat, black male by the name of, I'm scrolling, by the name of Lewis Hatcher. Now, Green won by less than 40 votes because his residency was questioned. There was a court-appointed interim sheriff by the name of Jason Souls. If you were paying attention to the video, I do believe Jason Souls is the one that ran against Green in this election cycle in 2022. But Souls got put into that position, and while he was in there, he was fielding calls from Green that continued to make extremely racist comments that he hated Democrats. And then he said, I take that back. I hate black effing Democrats. And these are some of the things that he represents as the highest ranking official, law enforcement official in that county. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't really have any words. I wish I could believe that this was an isolated situation with an isolated individual, but everything in me and my experience and what I've observed, it is not. It's just that some of them may not have been caught in a mess just yet. But make no mistake, he is not the only one. D.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I've been saying this for 40 years, and I'm going to share with you. Nothing has changed. I worked on a job where it's prevalent. You see behind the smiles, this is the way people feel. And I'm saying that so that we know that's how people feel, because then you can operate in it. If you sit back and think, oh, things are better, people are thought about and equal, then that's why you end up stepping on yourself and making a mistake. You got to understand, even in law enforcement, and since this is a law enforcement show, especially in law enforcement, that's what it is. That's what it is. But I'm going to tell you what it is. It's fear. It's fear. You look at this guy's background, and I got to find somebody else to be lower than me. I gotta, and who's the easy target, right? I don't know where everybody came from. Everybody's of different, and even some people in my family are so light in complexion, you're not really sure sometimes. But the easiest person to pick on is the African American person. It's fear. That sheriff is scared. We're going to talk about some things happening in Minnesota. They're scared. I'm going to show you exactly. If you sit back and watch it, they are afraid. And that is the scariest emotion or feeling you could have. And it manifests itself in being a bigot or biased or a racist. That's just how, that's the manifestation. Let's not forget that it's the fear.
Thank you, D. Thank you so much. Mark and AC.
Yeah, I agree with you, D, except for the one part. Things have changed. Since that guy got into office, they've become more emboldened. You know, back then we worked with a lot of guys and they kept it undercover and we could kind of feel it sometimes, but it wasn't so openly posted or admitted. Nowadays, I'm hearing stuff about guys that I thought were pretty cool, and the stuff that comes out their mouth. And when I say mouth, it's really over the computer, because they wouldn't say it to a lot of people's face. But they become emboldened, and I can imagine how it is down south. If you have a leader like the one we have leading this nation, and he says it, trust me, these people feel, oh, if he said it, I can say it. I feel that way, so I might as well speak what I feel. That's it.
I'm almost like Jim with that, Mark. Who's gonna check it?
Nope, nobody's checking anybody
Yeah.
that's against minorities nowadays, and that's black, brown, Native American, whatever.
Women.
You've got any pigment in your skin, and you're like D said, you're a target.
It's so true. So true. AC.
Okay. I have two things that bothers me about this. First of all, if the sheriff is the highest rank law enforcement ranking officer, highest ranking law enforcement officer in the area, in that county, if he thinks like that, how can you have equal enforcement? That's one. Then I'm thinking he must be stupid to tell everybody how he feels, or he's letting everybody know how he feels so he can get more votes. Now, I'm telling you, I'm not very familiar with Columbus County. I found out, I looked on the map, it's about 2.5 hours south from me, 2 hours, 50 minutes south from me, but it stands between Florence, South Carolina, and Wilmington, North Carolina. So it's in North Carolina, but it's close to the South Carolina border. Wilmington is very famous because that's where they overthrew the government, not black, but Democratic elected government. They overthrew that government because they were too liberal, basically. It's half black, half white. They didn't like it. They got rid of the whole government. They being the residents, the white residents of Wilmington. Now, I'm not sure if Columbus is similar to that, but it sounds, if you can win an election by telling everybody in the county that we hate black people, basically that's what he said, we hate black people, and you win anyway, you know, there's very few people who hate black people who don't hate other people who aren't white.
You're right, AC.
I'm just thinking about it. It's weird to think that that's somebody who's enforcing laws. And remember, they worry about this is a sheriff's department. You have to come in. It's supposed to be every arrest supposed to be legal. But are you supposed to be lawful? Are you enforcing these laws equally amongst everybody in the county?
No.
If the head is wrong, the rest is wrong. I'm sorry.
The other part of that, AC, is that they've just empowered him by electing him after those incidents. You've given him, now it's out. Now it's known. And you'll still put me in office. It's on for real now.
They say he won by, 400 votes with 54%?
4 votes. 40 votes, right?
40 votes.
So the first time that he won, it was by less than 40 votes.
Okay, that was the second election with 54%. Okay.
Mark?
Yeah, I just want to say, who said that he wants to stand for everybody, work for everybody? He's got his group, and he wants to maintain power in that group. That's how they think. This is not somebody and probably the group that he belongs to, they're not looking for equality and all that other stuff. They looking to maintain what they have, and like Dee said, they're scared.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rich.
He actually said it in his statement, though. That's what he said for all people. But I think everybody jumped on that. So they said all people. Even the commentator said even all. What is it? The derogatory term at the end. Go ahead, Rich. It's on you.
Yeah, good afternoon again. You know, as we look at this type of stuff, we see that the racism is being promoted. You know, we've been kind of desensitized to the kind of statements like that would normally ruin someone's career or have them sat down or removed, and they'd never receive a job like that again. But what you have is, you have like you said, the fish riding from the head, AC. You know, they put Trump back in office after all his flaws, after all his crimes, after all his lawlessness. He's back in office again. So the underlings feel the same way. Let's keep promoting lawlessness, because you know what? This guy's nice and racist. He's up front. The being out front and racist is, hey, this guy tells it like it is. We like that. That MAGA force has gotten so strong and infiltrated our democracy where we're unrecognizable. There's no penalty for lying now. You can lie at will. We see that with this case in Minneapolis, the second killing. They lied at will. Domestic terrorist, an assassin that wanted to kill law enforcement. I mean, all these things, vilifying the victim. And let's not soften the blow of watching murder on TV. When George Floyd in Minneapolis was killed with a knee on his neck till he's dead, crying for his life, for his mama, and he was extinguished, that was shocking. That officer was held accountable. So were those officers that are with him. We're not seeing that now. You have ICE and Border Patrol. They killed one unarmed woman, okay, where the officer was clearly out of danger. She got shot from the side. Now we have Freddie, who clearly was disarmed, never had the gun in his hand. He only had his phone, was taken down, and they executed him. And then they stepped back because the gunshots scared some of the punks. Everybody backed up, and they fired more rounds at him. Well, they fired 5 more shots into his lifeless body. And we watched this happen on video. And to certain people, that's not shocking. That's like, hey, he did it to himself. I
hate to hold you up, Rich, but that is one of our next subjects.
Yeah,
you're jumping into a subject that we're going into.
Oh, I didn't mean to preempt the subject. I'm just enraged with what I see happening in our communities. People, I just say this and I'll let it go. I think we've gotten to a point where it's beyond color. It used to be all about, the us and them, with color being the problem, abusing the minorities and getting away with it. But now they decide who can enjoy the freedoms of the Constitution. It's supposed to be for all Americans, but it's not. It's for whoever they decide that can do it. That's why Kyle Rittenhouse can, carry his gun cross states as a 17-year-old, kill 2 people in the Black Lives Matter protest and injure another one, and they consider him a hero. Right? But Freddie, he was a nurse. He was protecting a woman, which MAGA never protects women. And they killed him on video. Clearly, that was murder. We all saw it. And as cops, we know if we had done that, we're going to jail. Any one of those shootings, if I did that, I was going to jail as a police officer. Yeah. No doubt about it. I just had to decide what charge they were going to charge me with. But I was going to jail, and rightly so. And I would have no excuse on my prosecution. That was clearly what we all know it was. I'm gonna end with that, so we can go on to it.
No, but you're 100% correct with that. I mean, as a police officer, you know that, man, that was not a good shooting. Like AC said, none of them were good shootings, but it's like that
It's not
shooting was not
justified.
justifiable. Will.
It was me that we have to continue to have the conversation about race relations and race issues in this country. But the only thing that bothers me more is to have people tell me that there's no need to have these conversations.
Yeah, yeah.
And we can show evidence time and time and time again. It's like it's on a repeat reel. It's just got a different face. It's got a different context. It's got different people. But that's even more scary because with it having that many more people involved in the process or complicit in what's going on, sitting on their hands, keeping their mouth closed, it is unimaginable that I have to now look in the face of some people and see some of the things that they have revealed who they are. And when we have a conversation, it's not going anywhere other than that because you're going to be able to read it in my face when I see you. You're going to be able to read it. So, yeah, we're going to have to be about that business because now I'm wondering in my mind, what would you say about me when I'm not around? Or if you hadn't met me under the circumstances in which you met me, what would you say? And, you know, don't get me wrong. You can say or call me whatever you want to. You be taking your own risk if you want to do it in my face. But the point being, in us being in the profession that we've been in or affiliated with that profession is there simply is zero tolerance for conducting yourself in a manner that has any bias in the nature of your work. And I'm sorry, if the bias comes out of you in your personal life, I can't be confident that somewhere down the line it will not pop out in your professional environment.
I agree with you 100%. Jim, I saw your hand.
Yeah, well, I want to agree with Will and say this, being I am who I am, I could verify what he's saying of people I know, and some of you guys know, that you may have thought were your friend and all. And then when you were out of sight, I heard every word that they said about you. And I'm not picking on any particular person. I'm just talking about as race goes. A lot of people say, oh, this guy doesn't have a racist bone in his body. And when you walk out of the room, boy, are you wrong. Are you wrong? Now, you don't hear it, but I hear it.
Right.
So, Will, you're right on target, Will.
There are conversations that you will hear that we will never hear, Jim.
Correct.
But eventually their faces will show up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because they need to be exposed. But as we were saying earlier, the problem is that there is no downside anymore to be exposed. There used to be.
Right.
They used to be, but you weren't going to change their racism, but you can keep their mouths shut. Not anymore.
Yeah, you may not change their racism, but you definitely change their behavior. And now it's neither or now.
Right.
They really I see you, Rich. They really have a green light to move forward. And it starts from the top. When the President of the United States is talking the way he's talking, it's just going to filter down to the states, to the governors, to the mayors, to the council people. It's just going to filter all the way down to your school districts, to the corner store. It's just going to filter all the way down. Rich, go ahead.
Yeah, just on this situation with the sheriff, what's going to happen now when the sheriff tries to either suspend, terminate a minority, and he doesn't really have the evidence? The minority now has a case to say this guy is racially motivated against me. He's already said what he's all about. So how could they not win their case? He's already laid the groundwork for being a racist. So now when he tries to discipline somebody that works under him, who's a minority or terminates or whatever, that's going to be a problem. They'll have a case right away, whether it's valid or not. It's always going to come into question that he's doing this to me because he's a racist.
And who makes
Right?
the decision whether he was or he wasn't? The same people that voted him in.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they have a civil if you have a union, well, they have civil review boards and a lot of places where they will take the case up and decide whether that person should have the job back or
Rich,
whatever it was.
Did you hear where this took place?
Yeah, I heard it. North Carolina.
They didn't say LA, they didn't say New York City, they didn't say Philadelphia. They didn't say that. They said Columbus County, North Carolina.
They don't have review boards there?
Yeah.
You think everybody has a review board? We don't have one.
You got to remember, Rich. You got to remember in North Carolina, if you are a sheriff,
You are.
the deputies work at the pleasure of the sheriff. And one of the most difficult claims to make and prove in civil court is anything of a discriminatory nature, especially when the sheriff can walk in on any given day and he didn't like the fact that you didn't have your car clean or it was election cycle and you didn't put a sign in your yard supporting him. Because a sheriff can truly operate in a space of, if you're not with me, then by default, you are against me. Bye.
Don't wait for the Justice Department.
And what kind of state is that? A right to work? Or
No, this is exclusive to the office of the sheriff. Now they might have stuff.
I know.
In they might have stuff in their policy, but the sheriff has unilateral authority to rid you that day. Unilateral, no due process, no nothing.
Above the law.
Not really. It's just not really, Jerry. It's just that they have the right to do that. Where they don't have it in New York, they have that in North Carolina and other states. Well, like you said, the sheriff can walk in today and say, "Listen, you had an accident yesterday. It was your fault. You're gone." We've seen that. We've seen that when an officer with Hempstead, whose son was in North Carolina and had his third accident. In his third accident, he was dismissed.
What?
Yep. No good at finding reasons other than the real reason. Anytime somebody's in a position of authority and they know that they want you gone, they want you harmed for some sort of bias-based reason, they're really good at finding reasons that are not necessarily bias-based to justify getting you gone.
Oh, yeah. Mark?
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on, definitely what Will said, but also in the South and other places, which Donald was about to go in that direction, the right to work states. They don't need much to oust you. It's almost like for you guys who are police officers, it's hard to drive a car and not break some type of law. Now, a lot of the laws aren't really enforced, but if they want to be, they can. D probably has more than any as far as he could write a car that just came off the showroom. But we all use the VTL, and if we had to, we would find laws and stuff like that. And in the same respect, in these states, they can just kind of wait for you to make one mistake that 10 people made the day before, and you're out. And the right to work state is a whole different world. They don't have to justify. And what Will said with the sheriff's department is even worse. I mean, those guys, they have ultimate power.
Absolutely. They have absolute power.
That's scary. That's scary.
Mark, Jerry would like for you to explain what VTL is. I read her lips.
Vehicular traffic law. You've been on there long enough, Jerry.
Yeah, she should know that one.
I did, but I was like, am I right?
I just saw you going like this. VTL. Okay.
I'm glad you lip reading because I stopped reading Jerry's lips a long time ago.
All
We
right,
want to
all
go into
right.
the comments, man. We
Listen,
want to go into some of the comments.
sure, go ahead, D. Go into it. Oh,
Okay.
we got someone from North Carolina, Derek L. Partey,
Oh, Derek.
Nassau
Hey.
County detective. I mean, he went way up there. He ran for mayor of Huntersville, North Carolina. Yeah. Go ahead.
Really?
Will, you can read the
You want to read the comments, Will?
statements.
You
Oh, who else
I
reading?
can do it.
You,
All right.
you go ahead, Dick.
Really quick, want to give a shout out to the chat, Sylvia Butler,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Gill, Ruth Caffey,
Matt?
Natasha Jackson,
Matt's on there?
McMillan. I'm sorry.
You said Matt?
Yeah, Matt's up top.
I didn't see
Elizabeth
Matt.
Ava.
Okay.
Melissa Sutherland Moss, Valerie Burris Marsh. That's one of Don's people. Donald.
Who? Oh.
Oh no, you were commenting back and forth. That's why I said you might know who that was. Eric Jones.
Okay.
Karen
Jones.
Tasha, we got Melba Blocker.
Hey, Mel.
He's not here today, but we glad you're in the chat. Derek L. Partey, Don mentioned, and I think that's it. Unless you guys got somebody else. Sometimes they don't come through all the time.
Exactly. I didn't see Matt.
Yeah. We are biting at the bit, and we're going to get into this next video. Everybody knows what's happening in Minnesota.
Oh, well, hold up, D. Wasn't there comments that we wanted to talk about? Somebody had a comment?
I didn't see any.
I think Will said there was a comment.
Maybe one of the most pointed comments that was made was a question by Donald Coleman. You guys that were black cops, how safe did some of y'all feel working with white cops?
Oh wow, a good question. Good question, and I like to start that one because I actually felt safe working with them. Seriously, I have to be perfectly honest. I did feel safe working. I felt that every cop went out there was going to make sure that they had your back for the most part. I can't, even off the top of my head, I can't think of one that even they may be racist, but still didn't have your back. You know, as a police officer, so Dickie Donald, Dickie, I'll call him because that's what I call him. I've always felt comfortable, felt safe with another officer, male, female, black, white, older, younger. I really felt pretty safe that they were going to do what they could do to assist me if I got into a situation. That was me.
You're a big guy. You're a big guy. I just said you're a big guy.
But Jerry, even big guys need help.
Yeah, I'm just saying they may have been a little bit more intimidated by your big than I'm just saying. But
I mean, you could be correct. You could be correct, but I'm saying from my point of view, I felt comfortable even with a smaller person that at least they would get on the ankle and hold on to the ankle or something to help me out. But go ahead, Mark. I see you.
I got one guy from that whole department during my whole time that I found out I could not depend on.
Okay.
We'll
talk about him. We'll talk about him later.
But the odds are with you as opposed to they're backing you up. However, now things might have changed.
Could have.
Because feelings have come out, and like I said, people are more emboldened and they're more dug in. And I hate to say it, and I hate to even think it, but if I was working right now, I'd have to think twice. I'd have to go back to my transit days and kind of just rely on myself and hope I'm having assistance. But if I don't, I'll deal with it. Am I right, D?
We did that a lot.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jim. You want to say something?
I just quickly based on that conversation you guys just said, and I don't doubt it at all as far as the safety end of it goes. But I would question a whole lot of people that I know as far as how much they would protect you from anything else. I'm not talking about getting hurt or shot. I'm talking about if your job was on the line.
You're done.
Okay, that's the difference.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
now I will agree with that. I was really referring to like the physical part. But as far as like protecting me, as far as keeping my benefits of my job or my unit, more I can see someone cutthroating you right away to get into your unit, to get rid of you. That I can see. I can see that. Let me see some of the other comments. I know we got someplace to go. Burl McMillan says we see these murders taking place, and now we are being told you are. We're being told, are you? We see these murders taking place. Now we're asked, who are you going to believe? You're lying. Your lying eyes. Don't believe what you see. Don't trust your own eyes. So even with these videos, there's questions even about even what you see in a video. They're questioning that. Derek Partee says North Carolina is a right to work state. I said that earlier, Derek, and I know you're there in North Carolina, so I know you understand that. You can chime in anytime you want to, Derek, and we'll pick up on you. You guys were black working cops. Donald Coleman, that's an excellent question coming from Will Quick. Richard Bowden. The DA has guts going after that sheriff. Columbus County has always been racist. I would not be surprised if nothing happens to that sheriff. I would not be surprised either, Rich, at all. I mean, they voted him in knowing what he was.
Mm-hmm.
So that handles most of it for me right there. Thanks, Rev, from Donald Coleman, Marshall Butler, his voice. Okay, let me move on to D, Rich, and AC.
All right, really quick. Kind of almost forgot what I had to say. Real quick. To that question, when it comes to policing, and your Jerry is on the line, racism comes last when your butt's on the line. All these guys in the room will tell you when we working 8 hours and the ish hits the fan, all that racism, they are racist, but in that card don't exist. It doesn't, because their ass is on the line. And you got to understand that racism is something they're choosing to do. I get it. Jim, you're absolutely right. I know when they turn your back and you walk away, I just smile at myself. I can only imagine what they're saying. And it was a laugh, and we laugh and joke, and it doesn't bother us because we know it exists. And that's what I said in the beginning. We need to know it exists. Don said it right. When it comes to your benefits and your job, you got to know your job and be able to do your job. And they know. Everyone knows you know your job and can do your job. So you're not going to let any racist. You can be racist and not like me. I kind of prefer that. I'm sorry, y'all gonna find out a little bit about me right now. I kind of prefer that. If you don't like me, that's where I operate in. I'm not worried about that. I just want to know it exists. But to answer the question, when we're working, very little of that. When we're running down the street, climbing the bridges, and the shooting is going on, and racism ain't got no place in there. You got somebody's got your back and you got theirs. So you didn't see it at that level. What we did see it is when none of that was involved. There's a lot of racism going on when it has nothing to do with police work. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When it has nothing to do with anything. Administratively, the racism is there. We can see it. There it is. There's some more racism. Oh, administratively, days off, vacation. Oh, there it is. There it is. But when the shooting starts, nah, not so much. It doesn't happen that way. And that's the fear. Remember what I talked about in the beginning? And thank you, Jerry. You reminded me. That's the fear. That racism is fear. That racism is so ingrained in fear. They're going to get so close up behind Don to make sure they go home at the end of the night. All of a sudden, they're not racist no more. Not in that moment. That's what we got to keep in mind. It's a choice. It's not inbred. I send out all those memes and videos. Two little kids, they not ready hugging and kissing on each other. They'll fight you about their friend of whatever color, whatever race. That's a choice. That's fear, because they're afraid if I'm not racist against somebody else, I might be on the bottom. That's
You're
it.
right. You're right. Rich, AC, and Mark.
Yeah, D stole some of my thunder there.
Sorry.
You're right on. I feel like and to Jerry's comment of being a big guy, I feel I was more of a bigger guy than the Rev was. And when I operated out in the field and I called for cover, I got a great response from my fellow officers, no matter what color they were, because they knew if I called for cover, something's going on there. Because Rich normally is able to handle, himself out there alone because of my size and how I operate and how I talk to people. I mean, my best weapon was being able to communicate with others, but I think the physical part of it, I think the brotherhood of being a fellow police officer, the blue was bigger than the black and white. That's what I felt out here in California, being in the position I was. But then when the blue line got real thin when it came to other things, such as promotions and, special assignments, I watched the same guys get special assignments over and over. The same guy would go from being at the academy to being on the narcotics task force to being on the bike team. You see the same guys were getting moved around to all these nice positions, which had their perks, where other guys weren't getting that. So that part of it, you could see that was blatantly, the Good Old Boys Network was stronger than the equality. But as far as my safety was concerned, I felt like everybody had each other's back, no matter who you were, where you're from, because that was more important first, was the brotherhood. And that includes the sisters as well. So I think that was the major focus. And I never felt like my safety was challenged based on being black and my white officers. But I think the blue was stronger then. I don't know how it is now with the blatant, upfront, in-your-face racism. I mean, I realize now being retired and guys that I did work with, I didn't realize how racist they actually were and how trumped out they are. And now I don't have any relationships with some of those people that I thought was cool when I worked with them. So that's basically my commentary on how I felt.
All right. Real quick about Derek Partee. Derek Partee says all of us that attended the Police Academy in Nassau County have been trained at a higher level than many of the other departments. Nassau emphasized the progression of force when confronting situations, always take cover, and when it comes to daily physical force, to be sure that your life is in danger before you take action to take someone else's life. Yeah, I've never been through Nassau County's academy, so I don't really know. But Nassau County in general does not have many police shootings. As far as taking lives, as far as I know, as far as I can see, and from reading, I don't see too much of that going on. But I do see a lot of people getting locked up, and other things that's taking place, but not really the deadly physical force aspect of it. AC and let me see, I got Rich. AC and Mark.
Okay. I am from Nassau County Police Academy also. And it's funny because Nassau County Police Academy, they always try to go against that we and them, or us and them, that concept in policing. Because when you go us and them, you work your way from the bridge. You're not connected to the community. Once you're a part of the community. But when the shit hit the fan, it becomes we and us. And like everybody else said, you don't get a chance not to trust the person next to you or whoever's there. But barring that, when you get a little older, you start to realize how to trust people. Some people you can only trust as far as you can throw them.
That's true. That's true.
And some of it has something to do with race, because I know some people I've been next to him at the range. If we in the shooting, I don't want you next to me. You know, I've been training next to you. I know you're not going to hit what you want to hit. The safest place to be around you is right in front of you. So,
wow.
Hey, you gotta know, and like Rich said, I'm the big guy who's into the community. If I call for help, a lot of people show up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I don't do that often, and I don't do it for no reason.
AC, if I heard you calling for help, I'd be going through everything to get there.
People come from home. Because I don't call for no reason. If I'm, you know, and I also not gonna I'm gonna be the guy not let another officer get in trouble for doing something he was supposed to do.
Even I'd come out.
Wow, that says a lot. Jim come outside.
Me and Jim got to get off the desk.
he come outside. Yeah,
that means he got to go downstairs, get his gun belt.
He'll come out without the gun.
He got to load the gun. He got to put the gun in the
holster. He got to put the sandwich in the refrigerator.
Put the coffee back in the coffee maker. I mean, you got a whole lot to do before you get out there, Jim. But you're right, AC. You got to know who to trust and how to trust them. You one. I thought about that when you said that. That was so true. There's certain guys you wouldn't trust with certain things. You know, other guys you would.
And part of our policing was not only to make sure. Well, first you go to the disturbance, you want to make sure the disturbance is over again. But part of the disturbance being over is to see what officers is doing what. I'll come there. I'm usually at one point in time I was in a special unit, so I was like the third person there. I look and see. Oh, that's so and so. Let me go over there with him before he starts something up.
Yeah.
Let me get this guy because he's a fight waiting to happen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's gonna say something. Somebody will punch him in the mouth or something like that. So you can save people or save yourself work by just being, I think, a decent cop and knowing what to expect, what you have expected from other people.
That's so true, because and communication is very important. Back to that Christmas story, Mark and I had a conversation before we went into this house. You know, I mean, we actually communicated because we know each other. You know, you got a family at home, I got a family at home. I want to go home, you want to go home. And if we don't have to take anyone out of this house, we're not taking anyone out of this house. But you have some other ones to be on there, they're going in there looking to see. It's a holiday.
Overtime.
Holiday, you get double time. You know, so you get some good pay on holiday. Mark and I are looking to go home. Go ahead, Mark. You're up and Will.
Yeah, once that girl we had to lock him up. But anyway, that's I've never seen Donald in a suplex so long. His little feet were dangling on the top. But anyway, that's a story. The thing with racism, and I've said this before, racism is like an onion. There are many layers. You have some that are a little racist. You have some a little more, and it goes deeper and deeper. And then when you get to that pit of that onion, it's like that sheriff in North Carolina. I did 36 and a half years, 31 with Hempstead. And I'm looking back and I'm thinking as you guys are talking, and Jim, you could probably back me up. When I first got there, the old timers had their own way of doing things. And some of them who felt that way might not respond as quickly as somebody of another color. They'll respond and they'll do what they got to do, but they might not bust their behind. They may take another bite of that sandwich before they go. I could see it a little bit. I had a sergeant one time who was, he kind of exposed himself. And then later on, the worst thing I did to him was I didn't say anything. I just looked at him. And he kept coming to me, apologizing, blah, blah, blah. Then he tried the okey doke of, oh, well, you're Native American. You're not really. I'm like, I'm not really what? And then he kind of caught himself again. And I like, you just digging yourself a deeper hole. But I'll say this, there's been different eras. As more blacks came to the job, the demeanor of the officers changed a little bit. They were a little more accepting. Plus, they knew that they had to rely on you also, just as much as you had to rely on them. But like I said, nowadays, from what I've heard from different people,
yeah, I'm with you.
It's splintered. You know, we used to get together in the mid-years, basically, and we get together on the weekend, go to Hempstead Lake Park, bring our families, and we would have these cookouts and enjoy each other and really have camaraderie. And now, guys come to work, guys who want to make overtime, guys who don't leave. They're so disconnected with the job and the community. It's scary. It's really scary. If you look behind the veil, it's scary. Guys come there, and some of them just make my check, and I'm going, I could care less what happens as long as I go home. And that's scary when you have that attitude. And when you mix in the racism, it's a recipe for disaster. So I would say right now we're in probably the worst era that I've seen through my 36 and a half years, because the racists are emboldened and they can talk what they want, and they're not afraid to say to other people's faces now what they would never say years ago.
Yeah, because if you said years ago, you probably bored it on the carpet anyway.
Oh yeah.
But now it'd be like, well, so what? Keep on going. Your skin better be thicker than that. You get one of those type of responses.
If I could just
go ahead, Mark.
What I find with somebody mentioned about, are you going to believe your lying eyes? It's funny how when he came into office, everything was fake news when he didn't like it. But when it's stuff that you see that's factual, that
no
ain't
longer fake.
Yeah, that all of a sudden it's a different story.
Yeah, it's no longer fake. Well, and then we go to the next video. Popcorn man.
I'll do my job. I'll do my best to be brief. The reason why the term racism is consistently used in our profession is because there's a difference between racist and bias. Bias is an internal thing about how you feel about a certain thing, whether it is gender, race, body, whatever. That's bias. The reason why the subject comes over in our circle as racism is because we all have served in a capacity where we have authority to impact someone's life. And that's what racism is, when you allow your bias to intervene in your decision making. Now, that being said, Mark, I can rock with your analogy of an onion. However, the analogy that came to mind for me was cancer. Here's why. In most cases, when you hear doctors say, you get your screenings and everything, and you catch cancer early, the prognosis for being able to deal with it and being able to continue with your life are very good, very high. No different than bias in a department on any level. The only problem with bias is from a standpoint of cancer, or comparing it to cancer. It has a much, much greater possibility of recurring, and it has a tendency to remain dormant in so many ways. Now, to the point, or to the question that I think it was Donald Coleman or that asked the question about how we felt, when the situation comes up, because not just a few years ago, departments had to put in their policy that as an officer, if you see another officer wrongdoing and you fail to report it, now you become complicit and you could very well face consequences of that. Well, if you go to reporting on one of these old heads that's used to doing law enforcement the way it used to be done back in the day, and they still have their support service there, or their support personnel there, there's going to be a problem. So someone made the point, maybe not from the standpoint of physical concern as far as them showing up, but if you ever go against them in doing the right thing, I've heard a saying a long time ago, especially being a black man, too black for the blue, too blue for the brothers. And I've never heard such a saying referred to any other demographic. So that's my concern when it comes time to whether or not you're going to do the right thing or you're going to do the thing that's go along to get along. And I don't believe any of us are go along to get along type people on this panel.
I don't think some people understood what you just said, Will.
Okay.
Too black for the blue and too blue
black
for the black.
blue, too blue for the brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I just like we said, there are many law enforcement agencies across this country that once upon a time didn't want to hire black officers. And then when they did hire them, the only authority that they have to execute their duties was involved in the black community or with individuals that you're dealing with that are black.
Yep, you could
and
only
that's
lock up
only
all the
if
black.
they didn't have an agenda for dealing with that individual themselves. So when you start stepping up to stand true to what the oath calls, now you become too black for the blue. And as far as the brothers go, you consider the enemy the minute you put on a badge and a gun for some of them, and you have to go back and earn their trust. It's like, listen, I didn't get into this job solely for the purpose of trying to hassle anybody. I got into this job because the complaints that you have as far as how you're treated, I want to be a difference maker so that you see I can do this job and do it the right way without looking for a way to exert some sort of racist motive, because we need examples like that.
You're right. And for those who didn't understand what he still said, it's almost like back in the days when you had the light-skinned brothers, too light to be the brother and too dark to be the other couple. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're just in the middle and you have nowhere to land.
Yeah.
You know, you're just in the middle. You know, so when you said that, it really struck a nerve with me when you said that, because you're right. Because there were some guys that they were very uncomfortable with us because we were police officers, not knowing that we were still people. We were only doing a job if you made us do our job. Now, some people went and did, you know, went overboard. But me personally, I did my job when I had to do my job. I went out there, I did my job. I didn't go out there, and I was told before, go out there and find me this and find me that. I was like, nah, because most people I dealt with were law-abiding citizens that broke that did a violation. You know, going too fast or went through a stop sign. Those are not crimes to give me a right to go in your car and start searching your car and searching you and all that stuff. But that's what they wanted. I was like, it ain't gonna happen, Captain. You know, and I had more reasons, because first of all, I just wasn't gonna do that to anybody, black or white. Didn't make a difference to me with that at all. But secondly, I had family that lived in the community. You know, I dealt with the community and still deal with the community. And I love the community that I worked in. Hempstead, my wife will tell you right now, he's just a Hempstead boy to his heart. I still go back to Hempstead today. You know, I would have been there today if I didn't have something to do already. I'd have been over there today just to make sure my mother was all right. But my mother and my mother-in-law are still there. All right, let me go to the video, D. Which one we're doing? We're doing the
yeah, we're gonna do the shooting, the last
shooting.
The
one Jim had a lot to say about.
Yeah, there's gonna, and so just so you guys know, there was another shooting in Minnesota, and I'm gonna play these two videos back to back. So just give it a chance.
Things got buried. Yeah, unroll your windows. Let's go around.
Yourself, you stupid mother! Stop it! Kill yourself! You're murderer! You killed another person! What the wrong with you? What the wrong with you people? What's wrong with you? Shame! Do your job! Are you kidding me? Arrest them! Arrest them! Get them! Just so you can see what they're doing down here, y'all. You alright? You good? Check on Rampia.
Tonight, new video that appears to show Minneapolis nurse Alex Preddy 11 days before being fatally shot by federal immigration agents. The two agents involved in that deadly shooting are on administrative leave, according to a Homeland Security spokesperson. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more.
Tonight, new video that appears to show Minneapolis ICU nurse Alex Preddy struggling with federal agents 11 days before being shot and killed. A man who appears to be Preddy and others shouting at the agents who had blocked an intersection on January 13th. The man who looks like Preddy kicking a federal vehicle. Agents then getting out and taking him to the ground, then firing gas into the crowd. Agents then got up and the man appearing to be Preddy walks away with a gun visible in his waistband. We don't know what happened before this altercation. The video is being reviewed by DHS. A Customs and Border Protection spokesperson now telling ABC News the two officers involved in Preddy's deadly shooting have been on leave since the shooting Saturday, which contradicts comments made by Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino over the weekend.
All agents that were involved in that scene are working, not in Minneapolis, but in other locations. That's for their safety.
The Department of Homeland Security has not responded to questions about the discrepancy. Meanwhile, Attorney General Pam Bondi in Minneapolis announcing more than a dozen protesters have been arrested. And now, growing bipartisan calls of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to resign.
She's a complete failure on a disaster response. She clearly doesn't know how to manage. She's never managed a large organization, and she's failing at every possible measure of the job.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was attacked at a town hall in Minneapolis last night after calling for Noem to resign. The FBI is investigating the incident. Omar, who's been widely criticized by the president and the administration, speaking out again tonight.
We know this is not about public safety or immigration enforcement. It is state-sanctioned violence and political retribution. We must.
All right. I got two hands. I got Rich and Jim. Let's go. You're on mute. You're on mute, Jim. Rich.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
After seeing that latest video of Preddy prior to where he kicked the back of the vehicle and they had a little confrontation with him then, that just leads me back to put my detective hat on. Both shootings, were these people that thought they were helping the community by being ICE watchers. So basically, I believe in being an ICE watcher and being at these events, at the protests, blowing your whistle, trying to help your community. The ICE agents started seeing the people they thought were agitators. And I believe that in both of these killings, they were targeted because they were ICE watchers. And the ICE agents were tired of seeing these individuals, involved with their whatever they were doing, showing up and videotaping them and blowing whistles and, helping others, they were tired of seeing that. I think they were targeted. I totally believe that. And this is, watching these videos, because initially when I saw that second video with him kicking the back of the vehicle, I thought that was AI at first. So then I had to check out to make sure that was a valid video, because I figured that was something they would make up to defame him, and make an excuse for why he got killed. This is, showing the side of him, as him being, some kind of radical that's going around, attacking ICE agents and kicking cars and that whole nine. So I just think these are targeted killings. They went out of their way to make sure there was a conflict with these individuals, and they were able to unalive them at will. And then the second shooting here, they made sure he was shot to shit. And they didn't care whether there was a video recording it. They were acting with impunity. And they're highly untrained. And I believe, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these shooters was actually a Proud Boy or a January 6er that did this. Mm-hmm. So we go even deeper with the racism and the white nationalism and I can beat you down whenever I feel like it. You have no rights. And they treated these people like they had no rights. And they would, judge, executioner, jury, all in the same time, right there on the spot. And they didn't care whether the cameras caught them in the act. So what happens when there's no cameras? That's what I'm talking about. So this is where we're at. That's what I got.
All right. Kyle says, a bias can be positive or negative, racism negative. Rich just responded to you, Rich. That's a leap, Rich. You would have to establish that the officers involved in the second incident, the shooting, were the same who knew about the first incident.
Mm-hmm. Well, they said, what the person said, that was a leap that I made?
Kyle said that.
Well, yeah. Well, Kyle,
you have to. What you're saying is that you have to really assume that the persons in the first incident where he was kicking the vehicle were the same person involved when the shooting took place.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Kyle.
No, that's he's saying that you would have to do that to make that the opinion just made.
No, but my opinion is my opinion, no matter what. Based on my facts or what I see, what I assess to it is that he was targeted, and so was she. They were interfering with their operations prior to. That's all I'm saying. That incident shows them interfering, kicking the back of the vehicle, and they had a tussle with him, right? And then later on, whether it's the same officers or not, the people that are interfering with them start getting known by the other officers. So then they're now looking for him at scenes. That's what I'm saying. My point is they start looking for this guy to show up, and now we're going to now do something about it, no matter which officer it is. The word gets around. There's a tall guy. He wears brown. We've seen him with a gun, maybe, whatever. We got to get this guy. If he shows up again, we take him down. Not saying we're going to kill him, but we take him down hard the next time we deal with him. That can happen. We all know how that goes. You don't have to be the same officer to know that guy's a problem. The certain person
which makes her statement absolutely true then. She says, and she comes back and says again, she says that that's a leap, Rich. You would have to establish that the officers involved in the second incident, the shooting, were the same or knew about the first incident. And then she says, again, or knew about it. Wasn't just like they, I mean, you got all these agents out there. They would have to know something to say, oh, yep, that's him right there. That's Donald Butler right there. He's always at every incident. He's agitating, So that's really all she's saying then. That you have to.
No, I understand for the court, I would have to be able to substantiate that, but not for my opinion. You see what I'm saying? See the difference? I'm not adjudicating this.
I wasn't even talking about court. I was just talking about just the fact that and this is what she was saying, that you would have to just establish that. From what you're saying is that they knew he was an agitator, or they knew that she was an agitator. That's what she's really saying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They made up their mind that no matter who the agitator was, that was going to be their response. They may not have known who that guy was, but they probably knew somebody got their tail light kicked out. And when they went back to that area or somewhere close by, they said, you know what? If it turns out to be that guy, then it does. But otherwise, anybody that's going to be an agitator out there, this is how we're going to handle them. So I understand your point, Rich.
And you do know, most of us couldn't stand those agitators. And I had a rule for them. The biggest mouth goes. No, the biggest mouth goes, because everyone follows that big mouth. That's you, Jerry? Jerry did like this, so she says she's the biggest mouth. Okay. Jim DMR.
Yeah, 3 quick points. One, Rich, what he said about the cameras, very simple. Without cameras, there'd be no accountability for George Floyd, period. Case closed. Going into FBI investigations, does anybody really think with Kash Patel at the head of FBI, there'll be any real investigation by the FBI? No. So that's the other thing. The one thing that really drives me crazy, it really does, is that every single police officer in this country knows that both of these were unjustified shootings. We know it. We all know it. We've seen it. We know what a justified shooting is. But yet silence. Silence from every department. Silence from every... No, I was going to say silence from the PBAs. Never mind silence from the PBAs. They're justifying it. Some PBAs are justifying these shootings. That drives me crazy, guys. It really does. We've been in this business an awful long time, and we know an unjustified shooting when we see it. And for them to just stand back and say, well, you know, she shouldn't have tried to run him over. I mean, come on. That, you know, I could spend an hour on these particular shootings, but let me just say, that's one of the things as a retired police officer that really, really drives me crazy, because I know that they know, my fellow brothers and sister officers, they know, and either stay quiet or actually go out on a limb and lie. Terrible. That's all I got to say.
D? You're on mute, D.
I sure enough am. I want to give Marcus props. I got a couple of quick points to make. 6-on-1. All of us have done handcuffing technique ad nauseum. 6-on-1. I went back to my 40 years in law enforcement, and I wasn't on the ground that much. I wasn't messing up my gray uniform that much. And I've cuffed thousands of people, but I didn't scrape up my knees 4 or 5 times every tour. Mm-hmm. When they talked about this, gentlemen, it was a fully loaded firearm with, well, is there any other kind? You know, you say that like, oh, okay, let me say fully loaded with 2 magazines. You catch me, you're going to be 4 or 5 magazines. What are you talking about? Some extended joints. What are you talking about? That's the way we carry it. That's how you know it's BS. The last thing I wanted to say, I went back into my equipment. I have some equipment forms that I used to do for other people, and nowhere did I see bear spray. I kind of looked deeply, and I saw something that said spray, but it had nothing to do with bear spray. Where is this where you get to spray people in the face and then running? Shouldn't, if you're going to use a less lethal, which I guess, is bear spray less lethal? I don't know. We've never been taught bear spray, but they're spraying it in folks' face. And let me just say this. When you do that, the person is incapacitated without a reason to be incapacitated. Now, you're going to deal with some people that just put their eyes over, and they're going to deal with some people that realize they might be armed. I might be heavily armed. And if my eye, I can't see, what do we say, Don? We can't lose a fight. We can't. So some of the techniques that we know they're not trained. Some of the techniques, just by watching it, sitting back, this gentleman was shot 10 times, right? I always say hands. The gun was grabbed and pulled away 5 seconds before the first shot. And then there's somehow, when the ICE had his gun, he was shot 9 more times. I make it make sense. And to come on television and say some of the things you are saying, it's irresponsible. Jim, you said it with Kash Patel. They done got rid of all the investigators. We talk about them prosecuting the guy that sprayed Elmer. Ain't got no prosecutors. They gone. They ain't none. The only ones that are there are the sycophants and the people that are there because the real people are gone. Just like the ICE agents are there because the real ICE agents are gone. And this is what you're going to have. Good luck on an investigation. I wish Dave was here. Leslie, there's a reason we specialize in investigations. Y'all know that. It's not just we like each other and I want to be a homicide investigator. There's not. No. Because you need to be singular in your investigations when you're investigating something. That takes years and years of expertise. When you get rid of those people, good luck. They can't investigate. Tell me one FBI investigation. They run it up on Fulton County. That's a whole nother conversation. But tell me one federal investigation, since they got rid of all them people, that's come to fruition. One. Ain't gonna happen. They were struggling before. Now they're at below zero. And the mindset is, I'm an FBI agent. Just because I say that, I can find the guy. Yeah. Let me know how that works out for you.
All right. Mark and Will.
So I'm confused. People standing on the sidewalk or on the side of the street, yelling, blowing whistles, they're called domestic terrorists.
Right.
However, January 6th.
Oh, don't do it, Mark.
They were patriots. I've been looking in the dictionary, the thesaurus, encyclopedia. I'm confused. Maybe you guys can help me because you guys are smarter than me. Let me know where my confusion started and go in because I don't know. Jerry, help me out, Jerry.
Will.
You got to get a point of clarification with you, my brother. Now, correct me if I don't say this right, but a moment ago you were saying we can all relate to dealing with crowds, and particularly when they want to get loud and they want to get, real disrespectful. And what was it that you said? Your rule was what?
Here's a mine.
No, your rule. What did you say your rule was?
Oh, get the biggest mouth.
The biggest mouth goes, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay, now let's take that in the context of our listeners or looking at this situation. You didn't specify whether or not that biggest mouth committed a crime because we know we got First Amendment rights.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just asking for the purpose of clarification and understanding, because I could envision someone saying, okay, well, that one right there, he don't need to be in a situation as a law enforcement officer and be deployed to a protest. Because if his rule is the biggest mouth goes, and you don't qualify it by saying, provided that they do something to violate the law, then the mindset is he's looking for a reason to engage this person, which is exactly what we are discussing right now with these ICE and Border Patrol folks. And like I said, no shade. I'm just asking for a point of clarification, because when I say that I have gotten so irritated doing my job that I'm gonna find a reason to get somebody gone. That sounds an awful lot like me overstepping my authority just because I let my emotions get into it.
That's true if you're finding a reason, but if they give you a reason, you're not. So that's
Okay.
a little bit. That's a little bit different there.
Right, but
I
the
don't
biggest
find
problem is
reasons.
not a reason.
No. I don't find reasons. A lot of people of them, and I've never been at a protest.
Right.
Anything close to that.
Right.
I've been to disorderly crowds.
Okay.
But
that's what I'm saying.
I'm explaining.
You're qualifying. Okay. All right. Okay.
I've been to disorderly crowds where they had to go.
Okay.
And the biggest mouth kept on talking, and I would take it.
I got you. So
I don't go there.
The gathering of the crowd was disorderly, so there was already a violation in advance.
When I come up, there's a violation.
There you go. Okay, just make.
I don't have to find it. I'm going to it.
Very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
point of clarification.
I do understand what you're saying because that's a matter of mindset as well.
Yes.
Saying.
So if you're going there looking for something to lock someone up for, you can always find something. Mark said it even about D, a car coming off a new lot. You can find something wrong with. I can find something wrong with anything.
Yeah.
That's the easy part in law enforcement, to find it. But really to really enforce the law is a little bit different. So I had a lot of that going on, but you know, like I know, and everyone else know, if I want to find something wrong, I can find something wrong.
Right. But again, I just want to make that point of clarification. That's all.
Good. And that's for the safety of those around us, and for them just to know that that wasn't our motivation, or that wasn't what we did out there as police officers. But it's easy to find though. I used to tell my mother, I said, Mom, I can find something wrong with your car. I can find something wrong with my own car. Sticker sitting up on the back, air freshener hanging from the mirror. I can find something wrong with almost anybody's car. Who do I have? Rich and Mark. We'll be in it with you, Mark.
I know we're getting short of time. I think about this second shooting here with Pretty, and just like Dee said, you got 6 guys on the ground with him trying to get him into custody. At that point, the 6 guys is enough to get one guy into custody who's not wielding a weapon, or have knife stabbing your partners. He's just on his knees, his hands on the ground, one hand on the ground and one on his phone. You've disarmed him, and you can't take him into custody. You can't get a hold of him to handcuff him. That's really the atrocity on top of the tragedy and this lack of training. 6 guys can't get one guy into custody. I don't understand it. And then if you have to go to court and say there is a trial, when you're asked, what did you see that made you want to pull your gun and shoot this individual that the 5 other officers were on top of him? What did you see? What was the threat that you felt you had to shoot this man several times? We have to account for every round we shoot. We know that, right? So there's 10 rounds being shot into this one individual. And apparently 2 officers fired. So I'm thinking maybe the second one was a sympathetic fire because he didn't see anything either. It's not like the guy had a gun in his hand. So the gun was taken away by the other officer before he was even shot. So I'm thinking, what's the motivation behind that? What is the answer that these guys that fired will be able to say in a courtroom why you fired? I can't see what they could come up with. What was the danger? What was the threat? Maybe somebody can answer that for me. I don't think.
Guys, finger up. Go ahead, AC.
I can't answer it, but I can add to it. No, it's what did you see to make you want to walk behind them and then fire? He walked around to his back and then started firing.
Well, yeah, that's still you still can't answer that question though. Why did you do it? What was the threat?
I'm saying what made it more dangerous around his back to start firing?
Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Well, listen, and the crossfire and everything else going over there, man, you got the officers. I mean, come on. It's like, listen, I think if I would have heard the shot come from behind me, I'd have been like, getting up, running out there. Like, the heck is going on here? I'm the guy on him, and I didn't feel that way. And here you are shooting from behind. Listen, I got a problem with that.
And he wasn't the only one. The second guy fired. 2 officers fired.
Yeah. There's gonna be some locker room talk.
Worse than that.
Some lockers being moved.
Yeah, some furniture moving around here. You're right, AC. But good conversation. Thank you guys for joining in. Anybody else before we start shutting it down?
Here's some of the comments before we go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
So Kyle says, I think there's a general consensus here that we'd like ICE to be held to the same legal and policy standards that our local law enforcement officers are held. ICE has been operating without any constitutional guidance or policy guardrails. Y'all, that's our legal eagle. That's our quiet storm right there.
That's it.
Donald said, Mark, don't look at Webster's dictionary. You have to look in Trump dictionary. So apparently there was something. And he's right, because it's a whole different book. It's a whole different book. Derek Partee says amateurs with guns equal murder.
Wow. Derek.
Hit the ding on that, D. Hit the ding on that one, D.
Hey, Derek, you're gonna have to reach out to me, Derek. I think you'll be an asset over here. I mean, you got a lot of information. You work with a lot of. You're like our D part 2.
So now this is a question for us to ponder and maybe come up the next time. But Donald Coleman says, "Excuse my question, but in his Dave voice, would it be right to fight another cop if he called you out your name? I think y'all know what I mean."
Who said that?
Donald Coleman asked that question.
There's been fights in locker rooms.
It's happening.
Yep.
It all depends, Donald Coleman and Dickie. It all depends. I was a rookie in the academy, still in training. Hadn't even got signed to the transit police yet, so we're still all together. We go out on a call. They give out a description: male, black hoodie, black pants, white t-shirt. And so I'm in the back of the van of it's got to be about 15 police officers, rookie police officers in the van. One police officer from the front, who's retired now, went out on disability, has had a motorcycle accident, his leg was amputated. You do reap what you sow. He sits up in front, and this is what he says. All niggas look like that. And I'm the only black guy in the police van. And everyone in the van did like this. They looked back to see what I was doing. Now, I was the most athletic person in that police academy. So they knew what I was capable of doing. I just left it alone. But that was the rookie in me. 15 years later, it'd have been a different story. But the rookie in me was like, you know what? You don't want to lose his job on day one.
True.
But yeah, it has happened to me before. And those were his exact words. All niggas look like that. I'm like, oh no. And everyone in the van just stopped and just looked back at me. I think even the driver turned around and looked back. All right. Listen. Anybody else with anything? Listen, thank you guys on Facebook Live. We really, really enjoyed your participation today. Derek Partee, thank you for joining us. I think it's the first time you've been with us, but thank you for joining us. We appreciate that. Kyle from a distance, thank you wherever you are, Kyle. Donald Coleman, thank you. Sylvia Butler, Natasha Jackson, Beverly Wells. Who else we got over here?
Matthew Threadgill.
That's D's boy and my boy.
Okay, he says he's enjoying the show while on his way to teach a class.
Oh, and listen, if you need some defensive drivers, that's the one you want to see. He can get those points, y'all. Get those points taken off. Yep, he's good, and he's good. He makes a 6-hour class seem like it's only about an hour and a half because he just keeps you involved and keeps you going. So I enjoy him. I'd recommend him to anybody. He's done our church about 3 times right so far.
Get ready to ask you. So Don, that means you've been to defensive driver class, or?
It's the training, the learning and stuff.
Okay.
I'd be sitting up in there giving my little 2 cents.
I got you.
Hey, Will, you do that so you get a discount on your insurance.
30%.
Yeah.
Oh, the only reason you get that down here is because you're trying to get them points off your license.
30%.
Oh no.
You're trying to get money.
I don't have any points.
Everything.
Yeah, you do that to lower your premiums.
It's either remove points or lower your premiums. It's one.
You could do both. You could do both. You definitely lower your points, but I never had to use it for points. I haven't had points on my license, and I don't know since I've had a license.
It's either or. Either you do it for the discount or points. You don't get both.
That's true. You're right, Mark. That's absolutely true.
Okay.
All right, listen, thank you guys so much for joining us. All of you, we really do appreciate it. Kyle, stop running from us. Literally. Kyle always running somewhere. So Melbourne, again to CJ, Cheryl Jackson. Tomorrow's her birthday. Y'all wish Cheryl Jackson a happy birthday tomorrow. That's our buddy. That's our friend, Dave Kennard. We're looking for you, Dave. JT, we're looking for you. Jamel was going to come back on today, but had something to do. Jamel, we're still looking for you. Come on back, man. We're waiting for you. All right. Let us pray. God, our Father, we thank you again for allowing us to come together. We thank you for the conversation that took place on today. Thank you for those who are listening and those who participate in this conversation. We thank you. We ask that, God, you'll continue to watch over us, keep us from all hurt, harm, and danger. And Lord God, when it's all said and done, we promise to give your name the honor, the praise, and the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Until next week, we'll see you next week. God bless you.